Hi everyone, it's Marissa here, and I'm going to go over with you everything to expect in your live algae shipment. Okay, let's do it. So you're going to get a box to your school that looks like this. It is going to have this sticker on the front letting your receiving department or front office know that it is for Algae Academy. And there is a sticker on there saying that there's live algae inside, because there is. So it's going to need immediate attention. So inside this box, you're going to find 4 things. You're going to find your live algae, which will be in this insulated shipper. You're also going to find inside this insulated shipper, you're going to find this ice pack. It's going to be frozen when we send it. It will not be frozen when you receive it. That's totally fine. We just like to send the algae off as chilly as possible, but it's going to be fine and happy and healthy when it gets to you, even though that ice pack is going to be thawed. Okay, next you're going to find your media setup bag and your algae setup bag. These each have instructions on them, and one will go into one of the gallons of water that we asked you to purchase, and the one will go in the other. They look similar, as you can see on the back. They look rather similar, but they're very different and have very different instructions. So please make sure you're paying attention. And then the last bag in here has the 3 live algae samples that you will use for day 3 for your microscopy activity for your students. Just gonna move this box out of the way. Okay, so like I said, there's 3 baggies in here. They're all the same size. They look relatively similar, but each has its label on it with its own specific instructions. Returning teachers, there are quite a few changes to the algae setup this year, so please make sure you read that label on the algae setup bag to make sure you are good to go. Okay, so in addition to everything that comes in the box, you're going to need 2 gallons of spring water so that you can set up your algae and your media, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, everyone, it's time to set up your algae culture. So let's make sure we gather all our materials first. First, we have our gallon of water, then we have our live algae, and also our algae setup bag. So let's follow the instructions on the algae setup bag to get started. So this bag includes your 2 concentrated nutrients, A and B, and also your foam stopper. These nutrients are going to give your algae all the yummy food it needs to be happy and healthy, and we just separate them while they're traveling to make sure they don't evaporate. And our foam stopper is going to be put on the top of our jug of algae after we're finished so that it can breathe and be happy. Okay, so let's start out. So the first instruction, pour 8 cups of water out of gallon number 1 and discard. So I've already done that. I have a little movie magic gallon here that has the remaining 2 liters of algae in it. This is a very important step. Returning teachers, please make sure you pour out those 8 cups of algae. This instruction is different this year. We are using chlorella, and this algae just needs a different volume of water to get to the necessary concentration to make sure that it works with your biomass estimator. So we've poured out our 8 cups from our gallon number 1. So it says next add vial A, which is this little guy, to the gallon. So we'll go ahead and add that one. Swirl it around to mix. Add B. Get it in there. Swirl it around to mix. And now we're going to add our algae. So these are filled to the brim. So be careful as you're adding this in. Ooh, I made it. So you're pouring in your algae. Okay, replace cap and invert gallon a few times to mix. So replacing the cap, and now instead of just giving it a swirl, we're gonna invert it a couple times to really get that algae into the water. Wow, look at that. That looks great. Okay, remove cap and replace with foam stopper. So now we're removing the cap. We're putting our little foam stopper guy right in here just about halfway to allow it to have that air exchange. And then we're gonna store this in a well-lit place. Not too hot, not too cold. Avoid direct sunlight. So please don't put this in a window. It will quickly become not too happy. So kind of find that happy medium space, but do make sure that it is receiving indirect light. And that's it for the algae setup. So let's move on to make your media. Okay, so now we need our media. So we need our gallon jug. And we need our media setup bag. So the media setup bag has the same 2 nutrients in it as the algae setup bag did. So we're just gonna take those out, and then we're gonna look at the instructions. Pour about 1 cup of water out of your gallon number 2. So this is our 2nd gallon. We're gonna pour a little bit of water out of here, about a cup. Just gonna pour some right here, not as much movie magic in this one. So I'm gonna pour about a cup of water out, and then I'm gonna add my A and my B. A is purple. We're gonna give that a little swish around. And then we're gonna add B. Gonna give that a little swish. This one is not gonna look different. It's not gonna have color to it like your algae gallon. And then we're just going to add your top, and you're good to go. So just kind of put this in a place until you need it. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect light, perfect temp. This is pretty happy wherever it's stored. And you should be all set with your gallon of algae and your gallon of media for your students to begin making their own algae cultures on day 2.